Hello and welcome to this week's RubyShoes podcast, bringing you the very best of local entertainment across East Anglia each and every week. Now, this week we have our heads in Norfolk as we do try to cover both counties, and I felt we'd been neglecting Norfolk recently. There's just been so much going on in Suffolk. First, we chat to Reflex Theatre to talk to the producer and cast about their brilliant new play called Call Me John, which features local people and local places. Then we talk to Ksenia Horn about a special music hall style show which is going to be in South Norfolk. It's called Phantasmagoria and it's tales of music, magic and mystery, and it kicks off this weekend. And just so that Suffolk doesn't miss out, we finish off this episode this week of the RubyShoes podcast with a whistle-stop tour of what's on in the theatres in Suffolk. But first, let's chat to producer of Call Me John, Callan Durrant, who we caught up with during a rehearsal this week. So Callan Durrant joins me now for the RubyShoes podcast. And when Callan and I last spoke, you might remember he had written a brilliant play called Call Me John, and it was about to go on tour across East Anglia. He's literally in the middle of that tour right now, and I'm delighted that he's also joined by two of the cast as well. So we can welcome, as well as Callan, Tim Nixon and Callum Adkin as well. Hello to all of you.
Hello, hello. Lovely to be on the podcast again.
Hello. Oh, thank you so much. So just give us a kind of a summary, first of all, of this play that you've written, Call Me John, and then we'll talk about where you are on the tour and where you're about to be and where we can catch up with it.
Absolutely. So Call Me John, this is the second time we have done Call Me John. We've been lucky enough to be funded by the Norwich Freeman's Charity to bring this show now to Dereham, Aylsham and Norwich. We're currently in the middle of rehearsals and we will be touring on the 7th, 8th and 9th of March. The story is about a grandfather who has decided to write down his life story because he has a troubled grandson and he's trying to find a way to connect with his grandson and try and cross and bridge an intergenerational gap. And the play explores not only John's memories, the grandfather's memories, but also the experiences and the thoughts and the feelings around the grandson as well, the younger generation. This play was written by my wife, the managing director of Reflex Theatre, Megan, and we went across the entirety of Norfolk, Suffolk, the whole of East Anglia, gathering so many amazing stories and experiences from local people, local communities, and we're just trying to thread all of those local jigsaw pieces into a celebration of local lives.
And that's brilliant because when people go to see a show, especially when it's in their hometown, if there's just a nod to their local area, it just gives you that lovely warm, fuzzy feeling. Well, this is packed full, isn't it, of all those local links and things that you'll think, oh, I remember that when I was growing up. And it's literally a play about their lives as much as it is about the character, isn't it?
Absolutely. I even set Meg a challenge to try and make sure that she referenced as many local towns as possible. We've got Leiston in there, Nodsall, Chapelfield Gardens is in there somewhere. I won't spoil all of them, but we've done as much as we can to represent the best of the East.
Brilliant. So I want to bring in the cast now, if I can, Callan. You've got Tim and also Callum. So Tim, first of all, if I can come to you, tell me about your role.
Well, I played John, the grandfather, who is trying to really sort of find some kind of relationship with his grandson. There's a little bit crusty at the beginning, but then everything kind of softens and they start talking. He starts talking about his experiences of when he was younger through the war, how he met his wife and that. So it's a journey for the pair of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did you get to work with Callan? Had you worked together before or did you audition for the part and that was the first time you met? How did that work?
Well, me and Callan had worked before with a parody comedy company called Comedy Dining. We used to do Only Fools and Horses shows. And Callan rang me and asked me if I would audition for the role. So I said, yes, I would audition. And then he decided I was the best fit for it.
Fantastic, and quite different as well. But that's the joy of being an actor, isn't it? That's the point. You can take on all these different types of roles, and it must be a joy to play as well. Were you familiar with East Anglia, or have you had to literally learn about it as you've gone along?
I've had to learn quite a lot about it as I've gone along. I went on holiday to Great Yarmouth in 1976. That's probably about the only time I've really been sort of deep into Norfolk and Suffolk. We did a couple of Only Fools and Horses shows in Woodbridge and Bury St Edmunds, but that's as far as I went with East Anglia. So I've had to learn quite a bit, and yeah, it's interesting. It's a lovely part of the world, I have to say.
Everybody says that. It's one of those sort of best kept secrets. People come here and say, "Oh, it's actually really nice, isn't it?" I think because we were stuck out on a limb of it, people don't tend to bypass us and go straight up to Cambridge or further afield, and they just miss the bit that sticks out, which is East Anglia, of course.
Yeah.
If I can bring you in, I'm guessing
Yes.
your grandson.
Yes. I am the grandson, Ashley, and again, as Tim said, it's really interesting looking at this this relationship between a grandson and his granddad. And for me, it's particularly interesting because I have always just got on really well with older people. And it's always been something that my kind of friends have always found so strange, because there is such a generational divide in general, I think, particularly at the moment. So yeah, it's always just something that I've loved speaking to other older people, to my grandparents specifically. And a few years ago, I went through a period where I lost quite a number of grandparents in a small period. So I think this has just been really lovely to kind of look at that relationship. And it's something that I think we can all look back on and just go, I wish I had that time with my grandparent. I wish I had those conversations, those difficult conversations, which you just don't have enough. You don't have the confidence to have.
No, you're absolutely right. It's always put off to another day, isn't it? And you think, well, I'll do that at some point. Yeah. And unfortunately, that point often just disappears and you think, oh, that's never going to happen. So that's lovely for you. And are you local to the area, or again, is this quite a new sort of a new region for you to explore?
No, so I'm Norfolk born and bred. So I'm from Elsham. I live in Elsham, was born in the old Norwich Hospital. And so it's been lovely. I've been back now for a few years now from university. I studied acting at the University of Chichester. So I've been back now for a few years. And yeah, it's lovely to come back to the area, to come back to Norfolk and do this story, which is such an East Anglian story. So yeah, it's been really lovely.
And nice to do something on your home turf as well. Hopefully you'll be swelling the numbers, because all of your relations and your friends are like, yeah, we're definitely going to come and see Callum perform this. He's not.
Well, this is it. It's lovely. It's when you so often do stuff far away. Like I'm driving all around the country to Stonehenge and Portsmouth and all over kind of the country. So it's lovely to actually be local and be able to spend some time at home and spend some time and look at these local stories. And as you say, and people be actually be able to come to something that I'm doing, which is lovely. And particularly we're doing one of our shows as in Elsham, which I've spent so many years performing over my life. So it's so nice to have that kind of a homecoming.
That's going to be a very special evening indeed. If I can bring Callan back in now. Tell me about the rest of the tour. You've alluded to where it's going to be literally this month. Is there plans to take it on even further? Or do you think Call Me John is going to be sort of, popped on the laurels for a bit and then you'll move on to a new project?
For us, it's all about funding. If we're being entirely honest, with the arts and this, that, and the other, I could go on an entire rant, and I will refrain from. But what we're trying to do with this iteration of the show is figure out if we can do this as low tech as possible. So the styling and the changes that we've made to the show are kind of based around, can we go into a venue or into a locale, a community that is in dire need of artistic engagement, of access to the arts, but they don't have a theatre, they don't have a massive lighting rig or a sound rig. can we actually bring this to a village hall or a community hall where residents can actually experience quality local stories without the need for special effects. So that's the reason we're doing this particular round of touring. And our hope is, once we've got all our kind of, boring old data and evaluations and this, that, and the other, we will be going for a funding application from the Arts Council to hopefully bring this more East Anglian wide. We've done East Suffolk. We're now doing Dereham, Aylsham and Norwich. We want to make sure that this East Anglian story reaches all of East Anglia. And then if that goes well, East Anglia needs to be celebrated nationally. So let's go further.
Oh, I think that's a brilliant idea, Callan. And well done to you and your wife as well for coming up with such a fantastic concept and a brilliant story. Just tell us those dates again, and also how we can get in touch with tickets, unless of course it's already completely sold out.
Oh, I wish. We've got so many lovely, like Dereham's a massive halls. If we can get 300 people in, it'd be lovely. So the dates are the 7th, 8th and 9th of March, and we're going to Dereham, Aylsham and Norwich respectively. So Dereham on the 7th, Aylsham on the 8th, and 2 Norwich shows on Saturday the 9th. If you do want to buy tickets, they are £7.50. We want to make this as accessible as possible to everybody. And you can do that by going on our website, reflextheatre.co.uk/Call Me John. Or if you do not have access to the internet, you may be able to turn up on the door, and basically we will see if we'll get you in.
Ksenia Horn joins us now for the RubyShoes podcast. Her 1-hour show, Phantasmagoria, is coming to South Norfolk this weekend. You've got a very exciting event coming up this week, which we can get involved in. It's all happening at Needham Village Hall on March the 10th. Tell us a bit more about it.
Thank you, Steph. It's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. So the Needham Hall event on Saturday, the 10th of March, is actually the first of 5 shows which we're taking to village halls. It's through Eastern Region Media, who are a lovely community interest company who I've been working with for several years doing different projects. And this is one funded by the National Heritage Lottery Fund and National Lottery Players, and we have brought together songs and stories of mystery and magic from South Norfolk, and we're sharing them in a Victorian music hall style. So it's a lovely fun show, 1 hour long.
That sounds amazing. And tell me about the cast who's involved in it as well.
Yeah, we've got Vincent Gregory, who was well known in Felixstowe before the pandemic. He had a lovely theatre company, and so actor, musician. We've got Emily Bennett, who is fiddle player, singer, actor. She's done lots of work with Common Ground Theatre and is also in Stringfillies with myself and her mum, Hattie Bennett. So we're long-standing performing friends. And then myself. So my background is music and acting, and also working with lots of community projects too.
And why Stories of South Norfolk? How did that sort of come about?
That came about through Tim and Fiona, who are the directors of Eastern Region Media. They've always had an interest in history, and we were thinking about a way of combining the love of history and the love of doing things, and having participation where we've got lots of songs that people can join in with. So we were looking for a way of creating something that would be fun, bit of history, and light-hearted.
And do you think it's something that you'll take on tour around Norfolk as well? I know you've already got some other dates, but is it something you hope to expand on?
Yes, that's a really brilliant question, Steph. Thank you. We would love to use this as a sort of a pilot to see how audiences respond, and to develop into a longer show, which would have just more in it, because it's an hour. So yeah, we were thinking it would be great to have this as a starting point and then see where it takes us.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic starting point for you. Also
Thank you.
Tea and cakes and a raffle happening first of all, haven't you? And all the proceeds are going towards the village hall, I think.
That's right. So when we were talking to the different villages about the fact that the show was happening, and we would wanting to encourage everyone to come along because it's free. You can't gauge what sort of audiences you would have. And we were thinking tea and cake is always a lovely way of inviting people in, and a lovely fundraiser for all of the halls. So there's tea and cake at every venue. The shows are at 4:30, apart from at Broome and Skull and at Watton, where they're 4 o'clock. But the idea of hospitality and fun and entertainment, but with a local twist. Those are all the ingredients of the afternoon.
I think it's lovely, and it's actually quite a nice time, especially this time of year when it's a bit dark in the evenings. It's quite a nice time to go and see a show and still, be able to sort of get home, put your feet up and everything for the evening. So I think
Exactly.
Very well for you. How do people find out more and get hold of tickets?
That's a really good question. Each of the village hall committees have got the information, and I'm very happy to give my mobile number and email address if that's helpful. But just to reiterate, we're in Needham Village Hall on the 10th of March, which is Needham near Harleston. We're at Brockdish on the 16th of March. And then we're going further up in the county to Watton on the 17th of March. 23rd of March, we're at Thelnetham. And the 30th of March, Easter Saturday, we will be at Broome and Skull Village Hall. So the village hall committees in all those villages have got the information. But my mobile number is 07866 568 872. And the email address is info@ukharpists with an S on the end.com.
Wonderful. That's absolutely fantastic, and I wish you all the best of luck. Certainly, Hattie and her daughter come from Felixstowe, which is
They do indeed, yes.
comes from. So there's a local connection there. We like to talk about all things in Suffolk and Norfolk, so this is just perfect for our podcast. And good luck with it, and do keep in touch, because I'd love to know that you have been able to extend its reach, shall we say, because I think it'd be absolutely fascinating for audiences all over East Anglia to find out a bit more history, but also have fun at the same time, as you say, join in with a few of those songs.
Yes, thank you so much, Steph. I hope you'll come. We'd love to see you there.
Love to. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Thanks again for your time today.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to meet you.
What's on across Suffolk with Stephanie McIntyre, sponsored by RubyShoes Podcast, your weekly entertainment news podcast. Available from your smart speaker, Apple, Spotify, or you just follow RubyShoes Podcast on Facebook and click on the weekly podcast link to listen.
There's a host of great shows on offer across Suffolk's magnificent theatres, and here's just a selection to tempt you. Thursday the 7th of March at the Marina Theatre in Lowestoft, Your Bard. Shakespeare like you've never seen it before. 4 actors, 4 Shakespeare shows, endless possibilities. You, the audience, decide everything. From the play to the performance style, even which actors play which part. This hilarious, unpredictable new show features actors whose past experience includes as the RSC, Bristol Old Vic, Cheltenham Everyman, Dubai and even the West End, and it promises an unforgettable evening of Shakespeare unlike anything you've seen before. Go to marinatheatre.co.uk for more details. Have you dared to book your seats yet for The Woman in Black? It's coming to the Ipswich Regent Theatre from Monday the 4th through to Saturday the 9th of March. If you're looking for brilliant atmosphere, illusion and horror, you won't want to miss this drama as it comes to life at the region's biggest theatre. This play, which has been witnessed so far by over 7 million people worldwide, continues to delight and terrify in equal measure. Go to ipswichtheatres.co.uk for your tickets. Saturday the 9th of March from 7:30 you can see Carpenter's Voice of the Heart at the Leiston Film Theatre, a stunning production celebrating music from one of the world's most popular duos, the Carpenters. This classy show includes the amazing vocals of Carol Gordon, who recreates the velvet tones of Karen Carpenter, plus a terrific 7-piece band, all the close harmonies and featuring all the iconic hits. For more details, go to leistonfilmtheatre.co.uk. Calling all self-confessed Swifties, don't miss your chance on Sunday the 10th of March from 7:30pm at the Ipswich Corn Exchange to see an award-winning extravaganza that plays tribute to one of the leading contemporary recording artists of our time. Katie Ellis, a self-obsessed Swiftie with an incredible live band and dancers, promises to deliver the most authentic recreation of a Taylor Swift show you will ever see. The show has already taken Swiftie fans across the world by storm and features all of Taylor's much-loved hits, including Shake It Off, Blank Space, Love Story, You Belong With Me, Look What You Made Me Do, I Knew You Were Trouble, and many, many more. Go to ipswichtheatres.co.uk for more information. And are you looking to treat mum on Mother's Day? Also on Sunday the 10th of March in Felixstowe at 4pm, Colleen Nolan, naked and in the mood for dancing. From a child star as the youngest of the Nolan sisters to TV personality and presenter, best-selling author and agony aunt. Colleen Nolan has done it all, or so it would seem. However, there's still one thing that needs ticking off on the showbiz bucket list. So for the very first time, Colleen takes to the stage with her first ever solo show, naked. Not literally. Colleen will be taking us back to her first love of performing by singing a selection of her favourite songs, which have become the soundtrack to her life. Go to fxspa.co.uk for more details. Also on Sunday the 10th of March, the Fat Cat Comedy Club comes to Bury St Edmunds. That's at the Apex Theatre. Doors open at 7:30pm for an 8pm performance. The fun starts then too with 3 comedians, Esther Manito, Katie Green and Windsor. For more details, go to theapex.co.uk. And finally, Little Shop of Horrors is currently running at the New Wolsey Theatre in Ipswich. The Mean Green Monster musical is well and truly up and running on stage. For more details and to get your tickets, go to wolseytheatre.co.uk. If you'd like us to come and review your show or maybe chat to you just before you finish your final rehearsals and start on the opening night, just get in touch with us via our socials at RubyShoes Podcast. Let us know a bit about the show and maybe a bit about you, and you could well be a guest on a future episode. You can always listen again to any of the RubyShoes podcasts via Apple or Spotify or your smart speaker, or just simply by clicking on the weekly podcast links on our Facebook page. And follow us too for all the latest entertainment news. I'm Steph McIntyre. Thanks for listening, and we'll chat more about live theatre and all kinds of entertainment across East Anglia in next week's episode. In the meantime, do check out our socials at RubyShoes Podcast and have a great week.